Today, I'm going to be going over the New England Patriots versus New York Jets players to watch for. Hey, what's going on? I am Matt O'Leary back with another video, and today we're going through players to watch and player props for Jets versus Patriots. Before we get started, just wanted to mention you can follow on social media at Matt O'Leary NY. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to the Just Jets podcast wherever it is that you get your podcast. And last but not least, this video is brought to you by BUSR. Sign up at busr.com/Matt and receive a 150% free play from BUSR. Get in on the action, and maybe you'll see something in this video that you'll want to place a little wager on. So let's just do that right now. We are going to pull up BUSR and take a look at what some of my favorite props are. So let's start with pass attempts. Zach Wilson's number is set at 28.5. The over is -104. The under is at -126. It's based on what he's done the last few weeks. You would think the under, you have to lay a lot of juice though. If you think they're going to come out and throw a little bit more with the Breece Hall or after the Breece Hall injury, then maybe you get some value at the -104. That's not necessarily one that I would want to touch. As for completions, they have over 17.5 for Zach Wilson is +100, and then under 17.5 is -130. You have to lay a significant amount of juice here at -130 to get what I think it's going to come in at. I don't know if he's going to have 18 or more completions. It depends on how many times they throw the ball, and but the last few weeks they haven't. But again, if you think the game script is going to go where they need to throw a little bit more, then by all means, that's probably the best way to go is on the over, because you're getting even money value. Interceptions, Zach Wilson over 0.5 is -173. Under is +131. This is pretty good value, actually, because, well, he's only had one game with interceptions this year, and one of his last 9 games he's had interceptions. So you're getting pretty good value there. That might be worth your while to take that. We're going to look at alternate lines and stuff too, but passing touchdowns, here we go. Over 0.5 is -228. Under is +171. As for Mac Jones, his line is 1.5. So if he's throwing 2 touchdown passes, that's +152. Under is -201. I think it's going to be under, but you have to lay a lot of juice. So that's not one that really intrigues me too much. And if you think he's going to not throw one, I guess you could bet on that, but that's not something that I would like to touch. Passing yards, here we go. This is one that's probably going to be interesting to me. Over 181.5 is -114. Under is -114. I lean towards the over. I think he eclipses 200. As for Mac Jones, his is at 196.5. Seems right about on par. I might lean towards the under, but I really like the over for Zach Wilson on this one. So of the grouping, I would lean towards Zach's prop. Receiving yards, here we go. Conklin over 19.5 is -118. Let's see who else. Hunter Henry over 24.5 is -114. Garrett Wilson over 36.5 yards is -114. If you think it's going to be under, that's also -114. Elijah Moore's line is 33.5. I lean towards the over. I think he's utilized more. So that's probably the best value one here, as it's -110. But usually, as we find with these, the alternate lines are the way to go, and that's kind of where I've been cashing in with Breece Hall. Unfortunately, can't do that anymore, at least not for the remainder of this year. Garrett Wilson over 3.5 catches is plus money. That's one that jumps out to me. Where's Elijah Moore? He is also over 3.5 at plus money. Honestly, I might lean Elijah. I think they're going to try to take away Garrett Wilson, so give me Elijah or even Tyler Conklin to get 3 catches is plus 102. That's one that I might look at as well. Rushing yards, Stevenson's is set at 62.5, and they only have Zach Wilson over 12.5 yards or under. I would lean towards the over, I think, here, but nonetheless. Okay, here we go. Let's get into the at least. For passing attempts, if you think he's going to go 30 or more, that's what gets you into plus money. That's an interesting one. 28 seems like the number for me, but you have to lay a lot of juice there, so that's probably not one that I would touch. Completions, you have Mac Jones or Zach Wilson. If you think he's getting over 20 completions, then you can do plus 139. That's an interesting one. Interceptions, at least, they only have Zach Wilson, so that's not one that I want to touch based on what I said earlier. Passing touchdowns at least. Here we go. We bump this up to 2. You get it at plus 213. So if you think they come out and throw a little bit more, and this is a game where Zach has multiple touchdown passes, you get some good value there. For Mac Jones, 2 is at plus 152. 3 is at 440. I don't think they're going to score that many points, so I would avoid that. Yards at least. Here we go. If you think he clears 200, you can get a 202 at plus 108. 220s at plus 154, 232, 184, 242, 227. If you think he's going over 250, 280, you can get it at plus 280 there. I think 202 is the one at plus 108 is where I'd probably feel most comfortable. Receiving yards at least. Here we go. You could adjust accordingly, but let's say Elijah Moore up at like 54 plus yards. You get that at plus money. That's intriguing. If you're a Conklin believer, you can get 40 plus yards at plus 125. Hunter Henry, we obviously know the Jets kind of struggle against tight ends. If you want to bump that up to 45, you get that up at plus 168. I would avoid any wide receiver like Parker, Myers, Thornton. I would not touch any of their marks because of how good Sauce Gardner, Michael Carter, and DJ Reed have been. So I wouldn't touch any of those. Receptions at least. Here we go. It depends on how big of a day you think these guys are going to have. 4 at plus 100 seems about right. If you want to bump this up for Conklin and get it at like 5 catches, that's plus 185. Garrett Wilson, if you think he's the guy, you can change that and adjust accordingly there. Of these, I probably like the Braxton, not the Braxton, Elijah Moore at plus 100. If you want to go Braxton Berrios, you can only do 5. That's interesting. I would have liked to bump that down, but nonetheless. Rushing yards, at least, you could only do Stevenson or Zach Wilson. Unfortunately, they're not giving you Michael Carter. Anytime touchdown scores, here we go. This is one that's going to be interesting. A lot of Patriots. Here we go. Braxton Berrios is plus 400 to get in the end zone. Really not bad value there. Elijah Moore is 280. Garrett Wilson 240. Conklin plus 400. Zach plus 550 to run one in. Elijah might be the way to go here. That might be the one that I would choose out of this bunch. As crazy as that might sound. Or Braxton at plus 400 is really nice value. I mean, we know how much Zach Wilson likes Braxton Berrios, and Braxton's ran the ball really well too. So Braxton at plus 400 is kind of cool. And then the last thing we'll touch on is head-to-head. So who's going to have more passing yards? If you think Zach Wilson has more, you're going to get that at plus money. What else sticks out? None of these really stick out too much. You have to lay a lot of juice on these. If you think, actually, is that Braxton Berrios versus Jacoby Myers? Yeah, it is. That's an interesting one. That's a long shot play, so that'd only be a little bit of a sprinkle for me. But as I mentioned, I wouldn't really want to touch Parker, Myers, or Thornton. I don't trust any of their wide receivers to put up numbers on this Jets defense. I think the Jets will keep them under 20 points. And I think if they are to have some sort of success, I think it would be running the ball. I don't really have much faith in them throwing against this Jets defense. If you want to do Devontae Parker and Braxton Berrios, maybe you can get plus 137 on Berrios to have more. How about Hunter Henry versus Tyler Conklin? Minus 126 for Conklin. You got to lay some juice there. Don't know if I love that. Jacoby Myers, you get plus money for Elijah Moore. Again, if you think he's going to have a big day, maybe that's the one to go. And then Hunter Henry versus Tyler Conklin. You get plus 102 for Tyler Conklin. That might be the way to go there too. So there you go. Those are some player props. Of the ones that really jump out to me, I would say the Zach Wilson over 202 yards. I also like the value of Braxton Berrios, anytime touchdown scorer. What else? Elijah Moore, 4 more catches. Like I said, I think he's probably more involved just because I think they try to take Garrett Wilson out of this game. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Matt O'Leary. I'll catch you next time.